So this is going to be a fun one because we're doing a Stormhawk's Warhammer Fantasy AU. Why? Because why not? I haven't done Stormhawk's videos in a long time, and that used to be my shtick. That used to be my a big chunk of my channel was Stormhawk's content. It was like I was one of the last flames holding that torch, and eventually I flew away from it, and the fire did die out, and I was raging against the dying of the light. It didn't go great. But hey, let's talk about something I'm currently also hyperfixating on. Let's do that. Let's talk about something I'm hyperfixating on a lot more: Warhammer and Warhammer 40, Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40K, because that's healthy with my time, right? That's genuinely healthy with what I've been doing lately, right? That's what I need. That's what I need. Anyway, so let's get started. So it's kind of like we're going to talk about kind of like what I did with my Disney Warhammer 40K, which was basically what that video was that it was more like kind of a showcase of all these characters now existing in this universe. That's what this is going to be that's going to be in the same vein as well. So here we go. So the story is that we start with Arrow. Arrow lives in Bretonia. I know what you're thinking. No, this is not Bretonian propaganda. They're still awful. And Bretonia, Arrow basically is more or less just a squire. He's very young, and he's under the knighthood of Harrier. Harrier is his knight, and Harrier takes the rules of Bretonia and the xenophobia pretty well. And also, they refuse to bow to the empire of man and the great king that is Karl Franz. But Arrow kind of he's kind of aware that Bretonia sucks, and he's also pretty sure that if Bretonia doesn't change, it's gonna fall. There is a good fucking chance that everything is going to fall to shit. So there needs to be some legit change in this universe. I mean, in this kingdom. So he also isn't really liked by a lot of people because he doesn't really believe in the Lady of the Lake. He's always had this. Arrow's always had this feeling of, hey, do we just blindly follow this? Because I feel like I really do feel like there's something very wrong here. Can we get it can we do some background with her? So essentially what happens next is that Arrow is basically at this point he's already said something pretty heretical, but his father was the only thing that's keeping Harrier from killing him and the rest of the Bretonian lords from killing him is, well, his father was a great warrior. Goddamn chair. His father was a great warrior who helped battle the greenskin hordes and protected the realm. So they're well, we can't kill him. That would look pretty bad to the unwashed peasantry. Let's just fucking banish him. So Arrow gets banished off into the wilderness, and him and his little pet Radar set out in order to find head to the Empire of Man. Along the way, he runs into other people and makes his own called the Band of the Stormhawks. That will work out a lot better than the Band of the Hawk did with Griffith. But basically, Arrow travels out into the world with Radar at his side, and essentially encounters each of the characters just a little bit. They're all a little bit different now. The first person he meets is Piper, who is a sorceress from Hekara. She has basically been serving as a member of the mortuary cult who helped bring back the Tomb Kings. The mortuary cult kind of couldn't control what happened after Nagash ruined everything, which is kind of part of the course with Warhammer in general. So she kind of she left the mortuary cult, but she was also one of the people who basically she was one of the people who helped bring Cetra back. But in doing so, a lot of her power, in that spell of bringing Cetra the Imperishable back, a lot of her necromancy and a lot of her magic was sapped because it was such a big, like, draw. And she was also, like, she was pretty young at the time, and now she's just kind of like, well, I need to find a way to, you know, find new magic, and I'll roll with you, Arrow the Banished. Next person they meet, Finn. Finn is a wood elf who got kicked out of his own village because the dude wouldn't stop sleeping around. Yeah. He basically was a member of the Wood Elves, and he would more or less sleep with everything in sight. He was sleeping with, and after sleeping with a chieftain's daughter, he got chased out of the of the land pretty quick. Following that, we have Junko, and Junko is he is basically an ogre. Only he's a little more. He's diminutive compared to the other ogres. Oh no, wait, not ogre. Excuse me, beastmen. I got the two mixed up in my head. Yeah, Junko is a beastman, and he's a lot kinder than the others. He's more interested in, like, you know, why don't we just farm for our food instead of eating people? So Junko's out of there, and Stork is a goblin who. He did kill people. He killed a lot of people. Even he says, are you like some kind of misbegotten banished soul too? And Stork goes, oh hell no. I just fucking like drowned our chief in a pot of soup until he stopped breathing. I got chased out, and then I didn't want to be ruler. And he's like, then why'd you kill him? And he was like, because he broke my he basically broke my favorite my favorite book. Like, he basically like used it as toilet paper. So I drowned him in his own thing of soup. And they're like, cool, you want to come with us? And he's like, yeah, totally, until something better comes along. What? Nothing. So there's the there are the Stormhawks, and they basically roll around like Gotrek and Felix and go around essentially, you know, giving their aid as a group of misbegotten mercenaries from all corners of the land, looking to help others in need. Of course, you don't really get a lot of help when your members are a banished Bretonnian, a vastly depowered member of Hekara, a beastman, a promiscuous wood elf, and a fucking goblin. So they're trying their best here. They're legit trying their best as they go through the land, calling themselves the Band of the Stormhawks, as a mercenary group. And they do encounter other enemies. Like, you have Snipe and Ravis, who are dark elves under Malekith, and they basically broke off from Malekith because another dark elf decided to strike out on her own, and that was Cyclonus. Cyclonus, like I said, is a dark elf sorceress who decided that, you know, Malekith and your Dami Mommy aren't exactly evil enough. And I have, they just have all their stuff with Ulthuan. I have no interest in conquering just the High Elves. I want to conquer everything. You know, chaos be damned. So, she's not corrupted by chaos, but she is kind of tapping into it more and more, and has her own little dark elf renegade army at her side. You also have Repton and his brothers as their own little private band, and other, they're lizard men. Only, unlike most lizard men who stood up to and fought against chaos, Repton and his lizard men army fell to chaos. Like, they were the only lizard men who decided to switch sides during the first war with chaos, and they are yeah, they're all they all serve under Khorne. You also have Starling, who herself, she is an elf who has been disillusioned because she was she was immortal, and she remembered the war of vengeance between the elves and the dwarves. She got disillusioned by the whole shit that happened with the Phoenix King and the High Elves. She's just now kind of a wandering elf warrior fighting for the highest bidder. You have other characters who are you have Dark Ace, and Dark Ace was also a Bretonnian, a famous Bretonnian knight, until he. Well, essentially what he did was try to kill the king and also try to assassinate the Lady of the Lake. It didn't turn out well, and he fled to the far north, where he met the Nordskins and, furthered himself into chaos. serving now as like a warrior of chaos, and he didn't want to hang out with Archaon, though. He didn't want to hang out with the soldiers of chaos. He instead was like, whoever this Cyclonus girl is, she's got ideas, so I'm gonna roll with this band of dark elves and and corrupted lizard men. So now you have your own little faction there as well. But through it all, there would be like fun adventures, like them encounter like the band of the Stormhawks encountering the Skaven, fighting their way through people who want to do them harm, who for various reasons because they're such a mixed group, and eventually find their way into serving with the Empire of Man in the final battle of the end times, against Nagash himself. So, would they have any effect on end times? No, because end times still sucks regardless. But there you go. That's a general idea. So you guys tell me that. So there you go, guys. That is my Stormhawks Warhammer Fantasy AU. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Like it, hate it, and what other Stormhawks characters would you have in here? Oh, one more thing. Argaian. I forgot to mention Argaian. Argaian is a lesser god in this universe, and is also the one who's kind of like watched over Arrow ever since he was born. He's basically been like helping Arrow and guiding him silently, because he's destined for being a great warrior and defeat the Dark Elf menace, this new Dark Elf threat, who is kind of like falling further and further into Slaaneish's grasp. But yeah, forgot to mention that part. But other than that, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this Stormhawks Warhammer Fantasy AU? I also am thinking of doing a Disney Warhammer Fantasy one, because I did one with Warhammer 40k, might as well do it with Warhammer Fantasy. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.